Hi, it's Grandpa Butler. We're going to try and do a winter scene, a mountain here with a variegated, multicolored sky here and reflections down here. I find that when I'm doing reflections, the easiest thing these days is for me to turn my painting vertically and then do the outlines of the mountains and then come back horizontally. That way it's easier to get the symmetry between the actual painting and the reflection in the river here. So these are the sky colors. The lighter ones will be above, the darker ones of each pair will be below in the reflected lights. A mountain here, we're going to put a little bit of red and some Prussian blue. And then the trees, we're going to have a bunch of trees, and they're going to be these paired greens, only for the bottom one, instead of using this bluish green, I'll just use a blue here, a night blue. I'm going to put in a tree. Mostly I'm going to use this crimson color here and a little bit of a rock face here on this hill in the foreground there. White gouache we're going to use and come back, and after we get these other colors in and touched up a little bit, we're going to come back and touch this up and put a little snow on the branches and do a little Monet kind of thing here. So to get that ready, we'll put some on this palette here, and then what we're going to do is use this brush here to dip in here and splot it up here, and then also come back and put the snow in the branches. As usual, I'm using my watercolor crayons here to do all this and have all this fun. Okay, let's slide these out of their place right now and start with the skies. Okay, so the ones that go below are these sets in the pairs, and the ones are here are these, and the sun will have coming up over the right here. So I'm doing more yellow over here, especially over, we'll have the sun as if it's coming up there, and less as we move out here. And then the next is get some orange in here. And you notice how carefully I'm putting in each stroke, so I know exactly where it is. Ha 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 ha. We're having fun, right? And that's why we do art. That's why we do life. Try and do good, useful things that are beautiful. Okay, now get some more yellows here, and then my reds here, I'll put a reddish here and there. I'm going to use that mostly to frame the sky here and over here. Give it a sort of Monet-like, impressionist-like sky here. So that's up there just to show you what's going on. We're going to do the same thing down here, but slightly darker colors. So let me go ahead and do those right now. And I'm not exactly worried about the symmetry here. Oh, I guess I should put in a short line, huh? So let's put in a short line. About here. We'll have shore coming down over here, and some rocks. You can see Grandpa's neuropathy is not altogether giving him a break today. That's okay. That is life. So how about if we have shoreline come in here and kind of recede? We'll pretend the river's coming up that way. Okay. I'll just put a dashed line there to remind me that the snows are coming in there. Maybe we should put in our tree here. Maybe we should have just done it with a crayon, huh? And you see Grandpa's being wild here in terms of his jiggity joggity move things. I ought to move from this kind of impressionist style into a modern style, right? Because if I was totally modern, then shaking wouldn't matter. I'd just say that's part of my art. Yeah. Okay. Let's have the tree go down that way. So that's our one sort of foreground tree. Everything else I think will, in our winter scene, we'll leave as kind of background here. Coming down here. Probably, so I'm doing this on the spur of the moment, probably these should be reflected a little bit, huh? Like so here. Okay, give that a little bit. I don't know what color it is. It just rolled off there under my feet, but I suspect it's maybe my reddish color. So let's pick it up and come back here and continue. Okay, and here's my reddish hues. Let me try and sort of place them here, kind of in the same areas that they are up in the sky, but not worry too much about it, huh? Okay, so we've got the sky and the reflection in, so the next thing to do is let's light those up, and again we're going to come back and so what we want to do when we get these colors to activate them, we want to dabble and not stroke too much, at least here. If we're trying to do a typical sky, we may be more into that stroking mode. If we're only using one shade of blue or two shades of blue. But here I want to dabble, and I want these colors not to be kind of uniform mess, but kind of a Grandpa Butler kind of mess. So each of you grandkids need to pick out your own mess here. Hey, this dabbling idea is pretty good, so it makes my neuropathy shaking look like it's intentional. I love it. Good strategy, Grandpa. Okay. So we got those, got that sort of first pass in. So let's do the mountains. And we're going to do a little bit of red in the mountains here and there, but mostly we want to do blues and bring it down. And then we'll want to get a little bit red up here. And through here. We want to get our brush strokes to help put in these mountains here. So a good idea on mountains again is, do a few triangles like there and then connect them. That'll be the ridge, right? And come down here. And we're thinking we're going to put trees back in there when we come back and get this in here. We'll put a little bit more pigments in some places than others. And we'll come back in some of these areas. We'll put some snow in. Okay. Why don't we light this up with a little bit of water here? Get some pigment here. Carry it down through here. And here I am dabbling a little bit, but stroking more to pull the pigment in areas that I want it pulled down in sort of a way that suggests a mountain. So that's what we're up to now. We're going to come back and put some snow in there with our white gouache here in a bit, and we'll have trees coming up through there. Okay, I'm okay with that. You okay with that? Cool. And then on the bottom, we will have kind of the same thing. Here's where having the lines in comes in. Because if we were doing this sort of ad hoc without the lines on the spur of the moment, we'd probably get some, probably going to get some mistakes, like I feel like I'm headed towards now. Well, I suppose those triangles are there, and we're coming across here. And into there. I think we're going to probably put some treetops in there later on. Okay. And let's dabble some more. And here again, I want to, because these are mountains and I'm thinking that they have some shape in it, I want to pull some of this pigment in the directions that I'm trying to get this mountain shape in. Using a little darker hues here. So here's going to be kind of the edge of the snow, and we'll have to have the darks coming up here. Okay. So trees. No, before we get trees, let's get the mountain in the foreground. And what I think is, I just decided on the spur of the moment, on the top of the foreground mountain, I'm going to have some trees. And because they're near the top here, I'm going to have a lighter green there. And then I'm going to have a bunch of snow there. And then what I'm thinking is there's kind of just on the side of the snow here, there's going to be some cliffs. And we'll represent that by these ochre colors coming in here. And then also by this English red here. Make a few marks on there. And above that then is a more rounded part of the hill. Okay, so let's get put a line under, if I can do a line. No, like that. Okay. Grandpa hasn't recorded these for a while, and hasn't been doing painting for a while, because he's been finishing a book with Aunt Barbara and Matt, Advanced Statistics for Health Research. So that'll be really fun when that comes out. Okay. But it's fun to get back into the painting here too. Now I'm thinking we need to do the trees along here, and then we'll come back with some more white gouache. But, you know, we have these stones up here too. I guess I hadn't thought enough about coloring them in. Let's get our reddish color here for that. And here's a kind of reddish color in there, along with the kind of ochres, and we'll put a darker brown here in the water here. Okay. And so it goes. Let's get our brush, touch that up. Let's do the ones in the reflections in the water first, dip it. And then here I really do want these colors a little bit separated, so I don't want to splotch them too much together. Okay. Okay, so trees. So trees. So the trees on top here, what we're going to do is we're going to do a kind of tree line that comes down into here. And that's something grandmas help me work on, is, you know, you want to leave the impression of trees. You don't want to spend hours on individual trees unless you really like that. And then you do want to spend hours. You want to have fun. But Grandpa likes having fun without doing every single leaf or needle here. So he's put those up and down lines for kind of the trunks of the trees, and now he's going to draw big kind of triangles here for the rest, and he's going to come up here and there and there and there and there for impressions of trees. So when we dab it with water, it depends on the sort of color we use and how much pigment's there, right? And so let's see how that goes there. So we get our water dabbler thing, our brush. Any brush will work for this part here. This is turns out to be a good travel brush. And so for these trunks here, let me go through where the trunks are and just get them wet here, so when I come back here to get the rest, they melt a little easier into what we're doing here. Okay, rest your hand there, Grandpa, on the chair, and that will be easier for you. Okay, thank you, voice of my grandchildren collectively instructing me as I move along. I appreciate that advice. Now, not quite the effect that I was thinking about, but quite honestly, every one of these paintings is a new experiment, so I'm not altogether surprised. We need to get let's get the tree in. We've left it long enough, so we're going to use this kind of reddish hue here for the tree. And to get more detail here, we'll try to put a few fine lines of red in here with our crayons. And then we'll also get some snow in there, and that'll give it more definition. Let me put our white ocean there. Okay, so there's our elements of our tree, let's see. How's that? Elements of the Tree by Grandpa Butler, with an assist from all his collective grandchildren who are in his head at the moment. So here we have snow, and we have these snow banks up here, and between the rocks we have the snow. And we have the snow here, and then here is the reflection on below the dark line. And okay. And we'll have white there, but blue back there. Okay, I think that's good. Now on the snow here, we probably do want to get this pigment sort of spread out, like when we're doing lakes or skies, without the color that we have above. And then, so we leave the impression here of snow and the sun reflecting off the snow. Okay, so I'm happy with that so far. Now I think what we need to do is put some treetops here coming through, and we may need to go up here. And this looks like a little higher tree up here, so I'll put a little higher here. So I'm trying to kind of match where they come over there. And yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. And let me put some green in here. So there's this impression that we really wanted them to also be like the trees above, but we just got carried away when we were doing the mountain and did too much of the mountain below. That makes it just look so interesting. Okay, so here we go, getting these trees in here. Okay, now we're coming back to doing our white gouache here. So what I want to do is I want to do kind of an impression of Monet-ish, Van Gogh-ish like splotches here. So I put a little white, maybe too much white. And to get that sort of beautiful airy look that they have in their paintings, we're going to try and put a little bit of white in here. And because this is an experiment here, Grandpa's shaking too much. We're just going to drag this across here like this was water rippling, but it's not. working out that way. Right. So why we do these experiments, to find out what works and what doesn't. So what we're going through here, and I should just do the sky for a while by itself, is we're now mixing up some of this white with these other colors to give it a little light kind of Monet, Van Goghish, impressionistic feel to it. Same on our mountains here. But notice that as I do that, I'm trying to stay, it depends here, but I'm trying to stay in the spirit of not stroking these too much, but having this kind of variegated look up there, and variegated look through there. Now here, oh wow, Grandpa, you left too much pigment on that. Okay, we're getting closer. So what do you think we need to do? I think we need to put snow in the trees and snow up in the mountains. So what we're going to do is we're going to come in, instead of dabble with some white gouache, we'll just get some more. Thick things out. And once I see it like that, I think, oh, I forgot something up there. We should have some blue up there too. And while I've got this white gouache, I can put the blue and the white gouache together and maybe get a little different kind of subtle look there. Okay, come back to our pure white gouache. Dip it on the edge here. I think I would be better off with a smaller brush for this tree. Okay. And for the hillside here. And put some snow in the mountains, which I haven't done yet. This will be the next stage here. So this is cliffs, so the snow will collect here at the bottom of the cliffs, and that's probably not wide enough to convince you that that's snow, so put a little bit more there along the ridge. And over here. And to define ridges here, we'll put snow coming down in either direction here. And maybe more snow down there. What's that? I think I'm not letting the water have as much fun as I would like to have, and so it's rebelling against rainbow. Okay, snow's up here. And it's coming down on either side. And there's some at the base of the mountain here. And we'll just put that in there like that. Okay. I'm doing this on like it's on top of the rocks here, so it will be reflected there and there because it's on the top of this rock here. So kind of highlight it here, cover up that brown mark there. Now, what do you think? I think I've had a lot of fun, and though it's not quite what we thought it might be in places, it's entirely fun enough. So I hope you had a good time. I did. And I will pause, take off the tape, and yeah, no, I'm done. So I'll post this picture here. Love you all. Hope you're well. Take care. Bye-bye.